Hey guys, had some seat time on my way home today, so thought I would jump on here and answer a couple questions that I've gotten in person on my drive home here, and just kind of waiting for this thing to spool up a little bit. I know there's probably several of you that are on your way home as well, so no big deal, but wanted to do this real quick. So we actually have sold out of our Revelation booklets, and to my knowledge, we've only got a couple that have not been picked up yet by their respective people. If I do get some word that we need several more printed, I will, and I don't mind doing that. But I do need to hear from you that we've got several people that want that information, because you need to, for it to make it worth the printer's time, we need to get a few people on board for that. So anyway, so it's been a couple minutes here, so we'll go ahead and get started. So the question that was asked to me after church yesterday morning, or maybe it was before church yesterday morning, they said that on the teaching that I uploaded after the fact, that y'all couldn't really see what was written on the whiteboard. And so I went back and I watched it, and you're right, you can't really see it in the way that it was written. And so I just wanted to kind of briefly give a summarization of what you couldn't see. And so the first thing that I talked about is the Old Testament takes up a period of about 4,000 years. Now, what's interesting about the Old Testament is that the first 2,000 years of the Old Testament is covered in the first 9 chapters of the book of Genesis. So you've got 9 chapters that talk about 2,000 years worth of a time period. And then you've got the rest of the Old Testament covers everything up to about another, 1,600 years. So you got 2,000 years and 9 chapters, and then you've got 1,600 years in the rest of the Old Testament, and then you've got a period of 400 years called the intertestamental period, where God said nothing. Now, just to put that in perspective, the United States still has not been in existence as a country, even as a colonized country, but as a period of about 400 years. So just to kind of put that in perspective of how much time we're talking about here in the Old Testament. So that's the Old Testament timeline. The New Testament timeline, which was the one section just to the right, was a period of 2,000 years, and that was from the beginning of the book of Matthew. Actually, the book of Mark. Mark is the first chronologically written book of the New Testament. Some fun facts for you there. From the first of the book of Mark until here we are sitting today is about 2,000 years. And what's interesting about that is the Bible, the 66 books or the 27 books of the New Testament, was actually written in the first 100 years of that. We believe that the Apostle John wrote the book of Revelation at or about 95 AD. And so, anyways, it's just kind of one of those deals just to let you know. That's kind of the timeline that the book was written in, or the Bible was written in during that period of time. And here we go. To the bottom left-hand corner, if you were watching that, is the period of time of 3.5 years of Jesus's ministry. He was actually only doing ministry for a period of 3.5 years, or 1,200 and some odd days. I forget the exact number. But within that 1,200 year period, or 1,200 day period, you only have about 80 to 88 days make up the four Gospels. So that's just kind of what we have recorded. Now, was he doing ministry in those other days? Absolutely. But it was just similar things that he had already been doing, so they didn't really keep accurate, detailed records of some of those things. And then the last thing that I put up there was the 7 years of the tribulation period. Now, I believe personally in the Assemblies of God, which is the organization that I've been a part of most of my life, believe that the beginning of the tribulation period is kicked off by an event called the rapture of the church, or the blessed hope is another way that it's described in some other places in the New Testament. So it is our belief that the tribulation period will not begin until that event. And that event, it says, and you will be taken up in the twinkling of an eye, which science tells us is 1600s, either 1600s or 16 thousandths of a second. Anyways, it's really fast. And so that's going to happen. We're all going to get up out of here all at the same time. If you have, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except by me. So if you have declared Jesus as your Savior and Lord, and I've done some teachings on what that means, then you're on the first boat out of here. And that will be kind of the kickoff event to the tribulation period, which I personally believe, and we're going to be talking about here in this teaching, is a period of 7 years, a literal 7-year period. Some people believe otherwise. There's lots of different concepts on that, but that is the way that we are going to be teaching that, is that it'll be a literal 7 years. So if you kind of missed kind of some of that teaching, or some of those kind of diagrams that I was penciling up there, that was what I was referencing. And so hopefully you can go back and listen to that and kind of get filled in on some of those things. And so just wanted to say, I see several of you are saying hello. Sorry, it's kind of hard to look at who's talking while I'm driving. That's probably not the safest thing to do. But I appreciate you guys following us today. Just kind of some thoughts that I'm having on my trip home, and wanted to kind of get those out there and kind of let people understand what, if you were trying to figure out what we were drawing up there on the whiteboard last Wednesday, then that's kind of what we were doing. And then I kind of broke down what is going to happen during the 7-year period of the tribulation. And if you go back and you watch that video, you'll be able to kind of fill in some of those pieces. So hope you guys are having a good day, having a good Monday. It's another opportunity to start your week out strong, or the end of your Monday to start your week out strong. Anyways, I hope you guys have had a good day. Please hit me up if you've got any questions about the book of Revelation, or any just questions in general. I might take some just random questions and we'll throw it out there and just kind of see what's going on. So anyways, hope you guys are having a great day, and get me those questions, and we'll see what we can do with the rest of it. We'll talk to you guys later.